We're good to go. All right, guys, welcome to session number 3 on FormTitan Essentials. And today we'll talk about FormTitan integration with Salesforce. So everything we'll talk about today is how to push the data to Salesforce, how to read data from Salesforce, and then I will try and cover as much as possible. However, if you have any questions in the middle, feel free to put them in the chat, and then I'll be happy, if we have some time at the end, I'll be happy to answer them for you. Okay, so I hope everybody can hear me okay, and we'll get started. Okay, so here's our form builder, and today it's all about Salesforce. So where do you access the Salesforce? Well, let me just refresh this form and I'll show you where you can access it. Okay, so it's under Form, Settings, Salesforce Integration. So we got the push and the get. What does push means? It means pushing data into Salesforce. What does get means? It means reading data from Salesforce. Okay, and I will demonstrate each one and then we'll combine them together step by step. First thing we'll do is I will show you the push. Push means into Salesforce. So I'll create some fields. I'll get full name. Here, I'll get an email here, and then what we'll do, we'll also get a text box and we'll call this mobile number. Very, very simple. Okay, and then finally, I'll get a button, which is going to be my submit button. Okay, what will happen is when you use a submit button, sometimes you may see a screen like this. Actually, you will always will, because it will default to Salesforce Action. Okay, I will explain why you need to use Salesforce Action later, but for now, which is just a very standard push, I'm just going to use submit button. Okay, so there you go. There's my stuff here. First name, last name, email, mobile number. Where am I going to push this data to? My object contact. Okay, and then the way I'm going to do this push, you can use this push to exactly do the same thing for every other object in Salesforce, whether it's custom or standard, it doesn't really matter. The premise is the same. Okay, so I'll go to the push. You'll find this under Form, Salesforce Integration, and then Push. Okay, as long as you're authenticated with your org, you will get an opportunity to select your object. This is where FormTitan is going to say which object do you want me to push the data into. So here you've got all the list of your custom and standard objects, and you can just go ahead and type or start typing the name of the object and it will refine itself in the list here. I'm going to choose contact. Mentioned yesterday, it's really important to add a comment to describe what you're doing. Otherwise, it can get overwhelming if you have multiple pushes and nobody has any idea what each of the push does. So I'll just simply type in here, this push is creating a contact. That's it. You don't have to worry about using custom button / action right now. I'll explain later. But I just want to reiterate a point that, again, if you are not sure about any of these features, click the question mark. It will take you to the video and it will show you specifically what that feature does. Moving on. Okay, so here's my contact, here's my comment. Now the action is going to be what? I'm simply creating, okay? That's the only thing I'm doing, which means we're simply pushing the data to Salesforce. That's it. About the update, find and delete, we'll get onto those in a bit. That's all we need to do. Next is a rule condition. Again, why is rule condition important? Well, let's say I've got an email in there, and if that email is empty, it's going to be an issue. Or last name, for example, is empty, is going to be an issue. So I'm just going to say, you know what? Only run this push if the email field is not empty, which means it must have an email address. If it doesn't have an email address, this push will not run. So very important about rule condition. So I'll add a simple rule condition here. Next, it's all about the mapping process. What does mapping process mean? It's mapping our form fields to Salesforce fields. So a couple of different options here. This is what I'd like you to focus on right now, Salesforce mapping and form mapping. What does Salesforce mapping mean? It means all of your Salesforce fields from the object that you've selected here are on the left-hand side. So you can scroll down, you can see all the list, okay? Custom or standard fields, either one. And then if you switch to form mapping, you will see all the form fields on the left-hand side and on the Salesforce field on the right-hand side. Okay, this is just a personal preference, so it's up to you. There's no right or wrong in this. Then you've got a filter on the left-hand side. This is to refine your field. So if you just quickly want to get access to a certain field, you just start typing the name and the field will appear here for you. Again, really, really handy. So same thing here. If you switch to Salesforce or form mapping and type in something like email, and there they are. Very, very simple. And then underneath here, I will show you why this is so important. So I'm just going to go ahead and map the fields quickly, then I'll show you why this is important. So I'll switch to form mapping and I'll look at all my fields. Full name dot first name, I'll just simply use first name.
Amit, can I jump for a second?
Sure.
We've got like a very slow guy named Shai. He's saying like if you can slow down just like a bit.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
No worries. So in the last name here, I will map the field last name from Salesforce. Okay, and then email in the form, I will map it to email in Salesforce. Finally, I want to map the mobile number to mobile. That's it. Very, very simple. So form fields on the left, Salesforce fields on the right, and they are mapped. Now, there are two options there. Under the show. What does this mean? So look, if I select mapped fields, it will show me all the fields I've mapped so far. Okay, so there are only 4. This is really good if you want to do a final check and see which fields are mapped. If you want to see the fields that are not mapped, then you just select not mapped fields. And look, there's nothing. All right. And then if you want to see all the mandatory fields, you can see the mandatory. I don't have any mandatory fields at the moment, so it will not show me anything. And then if you select all, it will show you all. So that's really about it. And then you click apply, and then you can set custom messages to a user if it fails. Okay. If you want to know what this feature is, I've already added in the course, so you'll be able to find out exactly. But if you're still not sure, click on the question mark, and then you'll be able to see the access to it. And then there's payment integration, which we'll cover another time. That's it. That's all you have to do for the push. Click apply, click finish, and you're good to go. Now you can go ahead and test this form. So if I go into a preview, I'll go and enter some data in there. I'll say FormTitan essentials blogs. Very simple. And then I'll just give them an email. I'll say ft@formtitan.com. We'll give them a random number. And from there on, all I have to do is click submit. And before I do that, it looks like I've got PDF enabled. So let me go and disable that. You can ignore this step. This is not part of it. So let's try again. Like FormTitan, I can say essentials at ft.com, and the number can be anything. Okay, then I'll go ahead and submit, and now this data is going to get pushed to Salesforce. Now, how do you find out what's happened with that specific entry? Like, where do you see that? Okay, to see that, you'll need to click on Form, Salesforce Integration, and Integration Logs, this hyperlink here. When you click on this Integration Logs, it will take you and show you what's exactly happened with that specific submission, okay? And you refine that by date and time as well. So your form will have a name and you will choose your form. Mine is just called Untitled Form. And as you can see, time in UK here is 9:41. This is my submission ID. Okay, the method is Salesforce, and this is the record ID. So if I click on this, it will take me to Salesforce directly and show me the contact that I've just created. So super easy, right? FormTitan essentials at FT. There's my mobile number. You can set this up in little as 5 minutes. Benny, have I missed anything here? Anything you'd like me to clarify?
Itai, maybe. Yeah.
Itai?
Yeah.
I have no comment so far.
Perfect. So really, that's how you simply create using a submit button. So I'll tell you what, we're going to leave this created. Now I'm going to show you the second part, which is the get. How do you read data from Salesforce? So for that, we simply click on Form, Salesforce Integration, and then we go to the get. And in the get, you can, again, it's the same premise about everything. So you add object, you select which object you want to read from. I'm going to select contact. Again, very important to add a comment. This is going to read from object contact. Something very simple. And then this is really important. I'll go through each one of these very slowly, so hopefully it'll make a lot of sense. First, we have to write condition. And condition is important because how is FormTitan supposed to query from Salesforce? It needs to have a condition, okay? So on the left-hand side are all your Salesforce fields, everything within that object. So for example, if I say email in Salesforce must equal email in my form, okay? If that is true and there's a match, it's going to return me the data that I ask for it to return me, okay? And then in the conditions, you've got tons of stuff here, like not equal, contains, not contains, includes. The list is huge. And you can add a new condition as well. So you can really build the condition dynamically, okay? So you can choose multiple fields. You can do and, you can do or. It really is up to you. There is no limit in FormTitan for this, okay? I'll keep it simple for this demonstration, say email equal email. And then you've got tons of stuff here like show friendly condition. If you click on that, it will show you a summary of that condition. So if you want to get a better understanding, and then it will remove, if you check this, it will remove any conditions that are empty. So for example, if I haven't got anything selected here, it will just remove it. It's a really, really good feature as well. And then simply, you just go ahead and click apply, okay? So we've said, if the email in Salesforce equals the email in form, then bring me some data back. Now, the next question is, how many records do you want to bring back? So for example, if there are 4 records in Salesforce with the same email, which one do I want to bring back first? Is it the first one that was created? Was it the latest one, which is the last one? Or do you want to just skip everything and not bother? Or do you want to bring back everybody? Okay. So in this instance, I'm just going to say, bring back the first that you find from Salesforce based on my criteria here. With if not found, run, limit, and ID of section, they are not so relevant right now, but they will be in the course later covered. So you will get an understanding. So don't panic if you're like, oh, I have no idea what these actually do. Again, click on the question mark if you're unsure. Next up is a rule condition. So we have rule condition in a push, we have a rule condition in a get. So in this one, we'll just say the email must not be empty. Okay, so what we're saying is if the email here is not empty, then run this. Otherwise, if it's empty, don't run it. Very simple. So rule condition, condition in there. And then group by and sort order. Again, they're sort of, you can group results if they are coming in batch or if you have multiple records. Not so relevant right now. We'll ignore these two and we'll go to map fields. So we've specified a condition. Now we're going to do our mapping, okay? We're going to say which data do we want to bring back. I want to say, okay, I want to bring back first name. I want to bring back last name. We already know the email, and I want to bring back the mobile number. Very simple. These are the 3 fields I'm going to map. And then I'll just click apply. And then you can set up messages. You can set up translation if you're multiple countries. You can select different languages. Awesome features. Meta caching, if you have a pick list, you can cache the pick list. The next time you load it, it will load much faster. You can use record type filtering. Again, I've got video for each of these features, so you can check it out if you're curious about those. I'll now go ahead and apply again, save, and then here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and preview this again, and then we'll take this email like this, and we'll paste it in there, okay? And look, if I tab out, there's the data from Salesforce. right there for you. So it's going to read this data directly from Salesforce and bring it up into these fields. Really awesome feature, and it's super fast as well. So hopefully this is something you practice with later and get a better understanding on how the get and the push works. Now, the next step is combining them together, the push and the get, okay? Now, this is where we're going to take it one layer further, and I will show you a quick update, and then I'll move on to Salesforce Actions from there on.
Amit, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is Shai asking if you are married?
I am not married.
Okay. Are you engaged?
However, I'm not available either.
Okay. Thank you.
But thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this is how you do the get and the push. The next up is updating the data within Salesforce if you find a record, okay? So for that, I'll go back into the push, and then instead of create, I'll edit this, okay? And I'll explain how it works. Instead of create, we're gonna go ahead and update a record. We're gonna update this existing record here. And again, I've selected contact. In the next, I'm gonna set conditions. I'm gonna say if the email in Salesforce equals the email in the form, then go ahead and update any data that I specify in the mapping, okay? And this is interesting. So here it goes, if multiple matches found, what do you wanna do? So again, it's the same theory where if it's found 5 of this records, which one do you wanna update? I'm just gonna say update the first ever one that I created. You have all these options available to you as well. And then it's gonna say, if I can't find any match based on your criteria, what do you wanna do? Do you wanna skip it or do you wanna create it? This is really good because let's say if someone types in their email and nothing's coming back, do you just want them to skip and move on, or do you want them to create the data? Chances are you'd want them to create the data. So you just check create. And then this feature here, which says don't override if empty. For example, let's say this field here, let's say mobile is populated right now, okay? But when the user comes in, takes this out and clicks submit, it will go ahead and override this field. So this field will become empty. However, if you check this option, it will not do that. It will keep the existing data as it is and it will not override it unless we give it a new value. What's validate fields? Validate fields is it will check the fields that you are mapping actually exist in Salesforce. So this is where FormTitan will query Salesforce and see, okay, the fields that you're specifying, do they actually exist? If they don't, it will just simply not push to those fields. A really good feature as well. Record ID mode. So we'll cover all of this in later chapters because they cover more advanced, not so much so basic. So we'll ignore this for now. Again, a rule condition is automatically set, which we said email is not empty. Only run this when email is not empty. So we'll go ahead and now map the fields. The fields already mapped. We don't have to do anything. We know that we can update first name, last name, first name, mobile. I'll ignore the email for now. First name, last name, mobile. These are the 3 fields I'm allowed to update if I find them. Okay, then we'll go ahead. I will actually add an email. Here, what I'll say is this. Don't use for update. Really, really cool feature because I can say, actually, you can use this for create, but don't use for update. So we'll leave this one as it is. Then I'll just go ahead and apply and finish. I'll click save. Now let's go ahead and refresh this quickly. I'll type this in here. There's some data, and I'll just do FormTitan demo 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I'll go ahead and click submit. Now it's going to update that data in Salesforce. Again, how do I know it's updated it? That's where we go into FormTitan, Form, Salesforce Integration, and then integration logs. Okay. And then if you refresh, look at this. It says, here is the update that we've done. Again, look at the time. So time here is 9:52. This is done in 9:51. And if I go into this record, you can see that there is a newly updated data FormTitan demo 1, 2, 3, and mobile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so really, really cool that it can update the data and get the data. So you can do push and get in one go. And really it expands from here on. It's a very, very cool feature. Then I'll show you what it also does if it doesn't find anything for that person. So let's say I type essentials@ft.com. Cool, it's brought something back. But what if I type in essentials 1, 2, 3? So let's refresh this. If I type in this, now it's not brought anything back. It can't find anything. So what do? We can just go ahead and create something. We can just type in essentials demo, and then we can do 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, but now go ahead and submit this. Instead of, if it can't find anything, it will just simply create it. The same push that we use for update will create it. Once again, go back here, check, and here is our record. So if I click this, and then here, look, it's created a brand new record for me, and now it just exists. It's a really, really interesting, cool feature that if it doesn't exist, it will create. Itai, do you wanna add in anything here? Anything that I've missed so far?
No, I'm just enjoying as everybody does.
I'm glad, thank you.
Can
so
I
yeah,
disturb?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no jokes now. Can you show them like multiple objects, like let's say create account and then like a contact, and relate the contact to the account or like a primary, so they will see like 1 or 2 levels of push.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, no problem at all. All right, so what we'll do is we'll use this for our contact, and then we'll create an account, okay? So we'll get some field. Let's say we get some text field. So this is multi-relationships, account name, and then let me go and see that in my Salesforce, what are the essential fields required to create an account?
I mean, sorry for a second. There is like one good question, like we skipped it. We didn't show how to connect the account to Salesforce. Oops. So
okay, sure.
So maybe like, yeah, show them like how to do the first connection and how they can see how they're connected, and that's it.
Sure. To connect to Salesforce, when you log into FormTitan, you'll need to click on your avatar, top right here, click on My Account. Okay, if you've got a nice picture of yourself, be sure to upload it. We all want to see your nice pictures. And then go to Push Settings/Logs, and here you can give access to either your production or your sandbox, okay? All you need to do is click Grant Access. Let me just revoke this quickly and I'll re-grant it for demonstration purposes. You'll click Grant Access. You will go ahead and log in. You will click Allow. And then that's it, you're authenticated and you're done and you're good to go. This process should take nothing more than 30 seconds. And that's really about it. And then now we'll move on to show you how to do accounts and then contacts with it. So I'll do accounts name. Let me just get rid of this stuff here. Okay, to create an account, I need account name, I need prospect rating, and then I need, that's about it, I think. Account and prospect rating. Okay, so we'll create these fields. I'll get a drop down, and I'll call this field prospect rating. So when you're syncing from Salesforce, you will get these default options: first choice, second choice, third choice. You can get rid of these. Uncheck Add Other, and then click Sync from Salesforce. Now it's going to say which object you want to sync from, this pick list from. I'm going to choose account. And then it's going to say select which pick list. And mine's just going to be prospect rating, this one here. Click apply, and that's it, we're done. All right, so now we've got our account fields, got our contact fields. Now I'm going to create account, and then I'm going to link the contact with that account all in one go. So to do that, we'll go to Form, Salesforce Integration, go to Push. Again, I just want to reiterate this. If someone's panicking in the back, like, oh, I don't get this, taking notes, don't worry, this is recorded. We'll upload it for you. So you can follow the steps later. So I'll just quickly delete this. I'll add a new object. I'll say account. I'm going to add a comment. This creates account. In the action, I'm simply going to say create. And then I'll just have to map the fields. And you want to map the fields that you've put in the form as per the object. You don't want to do mapping for other objects. So I'll explain what that actually means. So if I go to form mapping and I just type in account, I'm just going to map this to account name. Next, I'll do prospect rating, and I'll just choose prospect rating in here as well. All right, that's it. So I'll click apply. That's my account ready. Now I'm going to create a contact, right? But how do I link the contact to the account once it's created? You use this plus option here. This is where you add a child to your object as long as it has a relationship. So if you click plus, now it's going to say, okay, which object? I'm going to choose contact. I'll add the comment, this creates contact to the account. Again, my option is going to be create. I'll just go ahead and map the fields for now. You can see here that you've got something interesting. You've got account ID, #1 account ID. So what this is saying is your number one hashtag, which is the account, will use the account ID to link the two relationships together. This will be automatically done as long as you add the child relationship. So FormTitan does it for you. Next, we'll go ahead and map it. We'll choose first name, choose last name. Let's do email. And then let's do mobile as well. Mobile number. So let me see if I've mapped them all correctly. Account, first name, last name, mobile, and email. Perfect. So that's done. Now click apply, then apply again. And this is what the relationship looks like. We'll finish and then save. And then one more thing I'm going to do is delete this get quickly so it doesn't bother us. And I'll move these fields up. Okay, I'll go ahead and preview this now. And let's go ahead and create an account. We'll call it course 1 essentials. There's a prospect rating to be hot. And then we'll add the full name as well. We'll say student 1 at formtitan.com. We'll give it a number. Once you've done that, go ahead and click submit. Now this is going to create the account and the contact, and it's going to link the contact to the account. So where do we know this has happened? Again, get into a good habit for this. Form, Salesforce Integration, integration logs. Go in there, give it a refresh, and look at that. It's 10 o'clock here. So it's created my account, it's created my contact. Here's the ID. I'll click into it, it will take me to Salesforce. This is what my account looks like. Course 1 essentials, prospect rating hot. And then if I look at the related list, look at that. The student is automatically linked to the account. So if I go into the student, there's the account that's linked to it. Okay. So that's how you do multi-relationships within FormTitan. This is just one way of doing it, by the way. The other one is Salesforce Action. And I've created a video for each one of these in the course. So you'll be able to get a really hands-on practice on how all of this works. Again, if you have any questions and I've missed a point, put it into the chat. I'd love to help out. Itai, Benny, comments?
Yeah, I got like a question from Shai. In life, like not everything is gonna work smoothly, right? So let's say you're gonna push the account in the contact, but you didn't specify like account name, so everything will fail. Yeah. So how do you handle failures? How you debug failure? How you fix failures? Yeah. And how you show maybe an error message to the user? Got it.
So look, there are multiple ways of doing it. So first thing first, that if you feel that these fields like account name is a mandatory field, you want to make it mandatory. To do that, you click on the element on the right-hand side, under basic, you make it mandatory, okay? So let's say if I now if I refresh this now, and I click submit, it can't. It will say account name is a mandatory field. That's one way of getting around it, okay? And where you just stop the user right there and then. And probably is the most effective way because they need to populate something. But however, if this isn't populated and it does fail, I'll show you how it works. So let's say I'll go ahead and preview this. Actually, other way is like this. So you go to the push, go to the account, and then you can show error message to users, okay? And you can write your own custom error message, like you must enter account name, or you can specify like a very generic error message. Please check all your mandatory fields.
I want to add something on top of this. Like, don't close. You see the show map error like a bit below. If you're working with like multi-interface, like Arabic, Hebrew, English, and you want to translate it automatically, you can send this error from Salesforce directly to a hidden field and then like go crazy with it. So we're not going to show it now, but keep in mind you can have more than one error message per error. Go.
Yeah. And if you, as I said, if you want to learn about this, just click on the question mark and you'll get like a full hands-on play with this. So yeah, there are multiple ways of doing it. You can add an error message here like this. And then if you click apply, finish, then you run into, let's say if I make this mandatory and somebody misses that, and it will just give you the error messages right there and then. So it's important to make sure that your fields are mandatory, that's first. However, if it does fail, your best place is integration logs. It will tell you exactly, because it will receive an API message from Salesforce that why it's failed, and these are all Salesforce messages. So if you're working with Salesforce on a day-to-day basis, you'll be very familiar with these error messages and you'll know exactly what's going on.
Show them like how an error look like.
Okay.
Remove the mandatory and like submit.
Yeah. So let's see, I'll get rid of this. Let me close this. And then I'll preview. Let's say I add everything, okay? And then I'll just say, I don't know, test blogs, but I won't even bother with a second name here. I'll ignore this. hotmail.com. Then I'll just type it in. And if I click submit, it's going to start to push the data, but you can see, look at that. The error messages come back right away. It's saying required field missing, fields are missing name, okay? And this has come from account directly. So these are all Salesforce error messages, and they're pretty self-explanatory in the first place. So yeah, this is how you can enable them, and then you will get all the error messages coming back from Salesforce into the form builder.
Good, thank you.
Okay, next up, we'll cover some Salesforce actions and why they are different to standard submit options. But before I move on, Itai, Benny, anything that I've missed so far?
Just one thing, I would like to mention that we are using the submit button, the way you just showed, in order to integrate with different connectors we have in FormTitan. And this is the unique functionality for the submit button.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So yeah, multiple ways of doing it. This is one of them. It's a very unique feature. Next up is Salesforce Action. Why is this different from a standard submit option? Well, because you can run it almost whenever you want, really. I'll show you exactly how they work. Let's delete this for a second. Actually, I'll move them down for now here so they don't come in the way. Then I'll move these up. We'll go to push and I'll delete all of this and I'll show you from scratch how it works, okay? So if I click on push and I'll add an object, I'm going to select contact and then I'll add a comment. It'll say create Salesforce action. Now, in order to run any Salesforce action, you need this option here checked, use in custom button /action. If it's not checked, it will not work. Like it will not show up in the list, and I'll show you where the list is in a minute. So it must check this, and then you simply do your due diligence as you would do for a submit option, whether it's create, update, what have you. Set your rule condition as normal. I'm not going to bother this time, and then simply map the fields. So let's go ahead and map our fields. We'll say first name, last name, email, and then mobile number, okay, like this. And now I'll just click apply, apply, and finish. Next, in order to enable this Salesforce action, you need to click on the button, or if you have a condition or anything, I'll actually demonstrate using a condition. So, because I think that'll be the best way of doing it. But I'll do that first in the standard way. So look, if you have a button, just click on the button, choose Salesforce Action, and then click Set. In this list, you can see it's appeared. This is a push that we set up, okay? And then you can add this in here. And now this is interesting. What does return record ID mean? Let's say if you've got a hidden field here and you want to return the record ID to a hidden field, you can do that. Let's say I'll set this to contact ID. Click Save. Click on the button, Set, and then I'll add this, and then I'll say return, once you create this, record ID to this hidden field, okay? By the way, this is not a mandatory option, but as you play with more, you'll get the feel when to use it, when to not use it. Then you've got tons of these options there, like process mails. If you've got any emails after the push, it will process it. If you want to redirect somewhere, let's say you've set up a form and you want to redirect to your organization's website as a thank you or a thank you message, you can use this here. Ignore validation of mandatory fields. This, if you check this, it will ignore the validation of mandatory fields on the form. This means it will run the push in the background. Custom execution order, I will demonstrate this very shortly, so don't worry about it right now. And then if you want capture, you can do capture verification on this Salesforce action as well. Simply go ahead and click apply. All right, just got a message, slow down, so I'll slow down for everybody, I apologize. Okay, once you've done that, simply go ahead and click preview. And then we'll go ahead and create somebody.
I mean, the pace is really, really good. So we can send the recording later, so it's fine.
Yeah.
We've got like 20 minutes and we're like not even 50% there.
Yeah. So demo Salesforce Action, and we'll say sf@action.com. Okay, and I'll add the number in there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if you click submit, it's now going to go ahead and create the record for me in the background. It's much faster because it's pushing the data directly to Salesforce. It's not going to store any record with FormTitan. So as you can see, it's 10 past 10. This is created record. Here's a record in there. Okay, that's what Salesforce Action does. And I'm going to show you guys something really interesting, how you can run Salesforce Action where you create account, contact, but it's based on a condition. So you can really start to get the feel for this now. Okay.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Yeah. Basically, sometimes you want to automate things, like you want to run like things automatically, like auto save or like auto create data. For this, you don't need a button. So let's say there's a typing like the full name, you want boom, go to Salesforce and save. For this, you will use like conditioning.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So look, here we go. What I'll do is I'll bring these fields up now. The account name and prospect rating. Let's move this down. And this up. And one more thing I need to do is enable the hidden field so you guys really see what's going on in the debug mode as well. If you want to enable hidden fields on your form, click on form and then debug mode and check the show hidden fields, and it will show you if you're debugging. It's a really, really good feature. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an account and I'm going to pass it to a hidden field. Okay, so this is what's going to be called account ID. And then what I'm going to do, as soon as this is populated, I'm going to create the contact as well. So let me show you how that works. So we go into Salesforce Integration, we create a push, we'll add an object, we'll say create an account. Again, important to check custom button in action /action. Create account, and then in the map fields, we'll just simply map the fields. So we'll use account name to account name, and then prospect rating, through prospect rating. Okay, we'll click apply, apply, and finish. Now here's what's going to happen. If I go ahead and click on this button, let's say if I get rid of this and type in account and say pass this to account ID, click apply and save. Now how am I going to create the contact? Here's how you do it. So let's say I click on this hidden field and I write a condition. I'll say if current field is not empty, then go ahead and run a Salesforce action where you create the contact. Okay, so this is where you can really automate things and get it to run as per your needs. And again, we'll pass this to the contact ID. Click apply, apply, and apply. All right, so I'll show you how it all works. So we'll go to preview. Let's say I chuck in an account name, we'll call it Salesforce Demo Action. We'll say hot, and I'll add some stuff in here. I'll say demo child action at ft.com. Okay, notice what will happen. When I click submit, it will create this account and pass its ID here. And now we've written a condition on this to say, if this is not empty, go ahead and create contact and then pass the ID here. So watch what will happen. If I click submit, it's created the account, and look at that, it's created the contact as well. So to run this condition, it said it's not empty, I found the ID, and now I'm going to go ahead and create the contact. So let's see, if we're going to do the here, it's created the account. Okay, but you can see there's no contact linked to it. Why is there no relationship at all? And I'll explain why right now. This is really important because it's often that something gets missed like that. So let me just delete this. Let me delete this demo child action as well. You can see that neither of them were linked together. They were created, but they weren't really linked together. And I'll tell you why that is. If I go into the push, when you create an account and you want to link the contact, you have to find their relationship, okay? So in the map fields, where it says account ID, I'm going to use a hidden field account ID, because remember, we're passing, whenever we're creating the account, we're passing the ID to the hidden field. So once the ID is there, and we've specified that hidden field to be used in here, when the contact is created, it will use the account ID and link it together. So let's show you how all of that works. Click apply and finish, save, and then I'll preview. Okay, I'll create another account. We'll call it FormTitan Demo 123. Connected contact. Contact.com. Now, same thing. When I'll click submit, it'll pass the ID here, and this contact will use the ID to create this contact and link it together. Really, really clever. So I'll click submit. There's my account. There's my contact. Okay. So if I now go into my integration logs and I refresh it and I go into this account, you can see that it's got the account, but look, there's a contact. Now the relationship does exist, okay? Because we've specified how the relationship is going to be linked up. And that's the difference between using a submit and a Salesforce action, that you can really, really build as dynamically as you want and really expand as much as you want. And you'll be able to do that with a lot of flexibility because you'll be able to use different conditions, different IDs. And if you're a Salesforce admin, it's really important to understand the concept of IDs, how it works and why they're unique. Benny, any questions? Itai?
I got one, yeah. Can you do the same push without the submit button so it would be more clear, like just like create an account, like use a type in account and like remove the submit button so they will see you don't need a button?
Okay, sure. So let's say we'll get rid of this. And I'll tell you, we'll get rid of this as well. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to the push. Let me get rid of this and I'll create it from scratch. So we're going to create an account without the submit button using Salesforce Action. Create without submit option. Again, check using custom button action, go to map fields, use account name, and then prospect rating like this. And we'll click apply, and then finish. And then here's what we'll do. Let's get rid of this and we'll say, we'll write a condition on this field. We'll say if current field is not empty, or if current field equals, tell you what, I'll use this. If current field equals value hot, then go ahead and create my account. And then pass the value to the account ID. Click apply, save, preview. And then here I'll say hot account. I'll choose this to hot. And look at that, it's created the account based on my condition, and there's the ID. So if we go to the integration logs, it's there, and there you go. There is your account. Benny, Itai, any questions?
Can you show the opposite interaction when the prospect is not hot and where it is defined?
What do you mean by that, when the prospect is not hot?
For example, if you select a cold prospect is cold.
Yeah.
So what is the opposite functionality and where it is defined?
Well, okay, so let's go back to the form builder here. Right now, I've just specified if current field equals hot, go ahead and create it. You can then also uncheck support opposite and then write another query behind it. You can say, if current field equals cold, then create some other action. It's all about flexibility here. So you can write complete opposite logic of what your original one is, and then specify a different action for it. So you can create a different type of account where it's equals cold, and you can just create another account for it.
Got it.
Okay, so we've got 10 minutes left. Any questions? I'd love to answer some questions.
Can you create any duplicate rules upon submissions?
Absolutely. Just like you have them in Salesforce, we can create duplication rules within it, and you use the get for it. So, you know, if you go here into the get, you can do this multiple ways. You can either do a get based on, so let's say someone types in something and it will say, oh, look, you already exist. Well, you can, yeah, answer is yes. You can absolutely add duplicate rules, check upon submission.
Amit, can we do like a quick example? Let's say you've got like, I think like your account name or like email, so we can show them how it works, because Ishai is very slow.
Okay, no worries, we can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
So let me just I'll do the same one here. Let's say I've done the push, create without submit option, and then I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just use this account, the hot account, and then we'll set it to hot as well. So look, if I preview again and now try and do the same thing here, which is hot account, and I'll set it to hot, it's gonna have a look. I think it might have created because I don't really have any duplication rules enabled. So let me see what's going on. Yeah, it's created it regardless. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll do it on a contact, because then contact will be a lot easier to do. So let me get rid of this. Let's do first name. Let's do email. And let's do submit. And I'll use like a standard submit button for this so I can quickly show you how it works. Push, going to add object, we'll add contact. And then we'll create map fields, last name, first name, and then we'll do email. Client finish, save, preview. All right, what I'll do is, let me get rid of this, and all of this here as well. And then I'll show you how it works. So we go to a contact. Let's just pick any of these contacts here. Let's take this one. We know it already exists, so we'll just copy the details. I now click submit. It's going to submit my form. But in the integration logs, it will say, hey, there are duplicates detected. Use one of these records. So it will give you the duplication rule automatically, which comes from Salesforce, by the way, and it will show that to you in the integration logs. And then from here on, you can decide what you want to do with that. Does that make sense?
Actually, no, because on the submission, it was looking like it was successful.
Yes.
I'm not going into the logs after every submit.
You don't have to. You can set up an error message. You know how we showed you? The only reason I've done that is to sort of give you a demonstration. But you see here where you can set up messages. You can enable this and it will show them an error message saying, hey, you already exist. What do you want to do from that? You have to write a custom logic on it. It's not something that we can demonstrate like straight away. But the answer is yes. So as long as the rule is coming back, you can show that on the screen for them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can also, you can also check for duplication before you are submitting. So you can do a get, and if you find based on the same information like a record ID, like a contact or an account, you can say I'm not going to push because it's already there.
Yeah, and we've got that in the course, so you'll be able to play with that and figure out how the duplication rules work. Any other questions, guys? Please post them in the chat.
Yeah, I'm following it, so I don't see. Okay, we can close it. 1 second. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys taking time out to come here and learn. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll look to put out more content for you in the future and really help you succeed. And we really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.